Man cuts down 500-year-old tree and is horrified at what he finds inside. To make your day just that little brighter, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to be inspired by these heartwarming stories every day. Comment "I subscribed" and we'll feature some of you in our next video. From the moment they cut down the tree trunk, they knew that something wasn't right. The piece was, first of all, light and hollow, which is not a distinct quality of chestnut tree trunks. When the tree was on the ground, they discovered that inside of it was a black hole. When they checked to see what it was, they were shocked beyond measure. The loggers were staff members of the Georgia Craft Co. It was a normal day at work for them in 1980 until they went out to a nearby forest to cut some more trees. Nobody could have prepared them for the secret that was hidden inside of one particular tree. Due to the fact that they grow faster than oak trees, American chestnut trees have always been of great commercial value. In fact, surviving specimens remain throughout eastern North American regions like Nova Scotia, New Hampshire, Alabama, Georgia, and Tennessee, despite a fungal infection that nearly made this species of trees extinct in the early 20th century. The loggers reached the forest and began work immediately. They began by cutting down all the chestnut trees they had selected beforehand. It was a task that was bound to take the entire day. They continued chopping even though they realized its hollowness because they believed it would still provide pulp of great quality. When the trunk of the tree was down, they proceeded to cut it into logs so they could fit it into their trucks. It was at this point that they could not ignore the hollowed-out tree. Something was preventing light from passing through it. They moved towards it and were met with the shock of their lives. Right inside the trunk was a beast staring back at them. Interestingly, the creature of mystery inside the tree trunk turned out to be a dog. They knew it was a dog because of its sharp canine teeth, long snout, and paws which sat at the top of the trunk. Something, however, was strange about this dog: it looked frozen. None of the loggers could come up with an explanation as to how the dog ended up in the trunk of a tree, and why it looked the way it did. The loggers were confused. Whatever they wanted to do with the tree, they had to do it fast because they were still technically at work and on the clock. They were going to lose money if they didn't cut the tree trunk up, but they had just made an exciting discovery which they could not just let go. They just put it aside with the hope that something or someone will come along to give the case the thorough investigation it needed. Fortunately, a year later, the Southern Forest World opened in 1981. The museum committed itself to the southeastern United States industry of forestry, which included wood production in colonial America to modern tree farming techniques. The loggers from the Georgia Craft Co. immediately knew that this was their cue to give the trunk home. The trunk was sent to the Southern Forest World. The staff immediately saw it as an exhibit bound to be popular even though it didn't really relate to forestry except that loggers had discovered it. But of course, they wanted to know the truth about the dog and how it had ended up in a chestnut tree. Biology experts were brought in to study the dog. The dog had been mummified. No one knew how this could have happened without human help or even the methods used in ancient Egypt. But, biological anthropologist Christina Kilgrove from the University of West Florida was able to discover what had actually happened to the dog. Kilgrove explained tissue decay and how the putrefying process took place after the passing. Surprisingly, something had stopped this process within the chestnut tree. The lack of moisture prevented microbes from starting the decaying process on the body of the dog. If the dog didn't decay, how come scavengers outside the tree avoided it? When microbes begin to consume a deceased body, natural predators are lured by the smell and arrive to turn the body into a meal. But the chestnut tree prevented this from happening to the dog. In fact, it pumped the air up through the hollow trunk like a chimney, which prevented other animals from smelling it. Anything that would eat dead flesh would never know he was in the tree, explained Bertha Sue Dixon, Southern Forest World's director. But the most important question still remained unanswered. How did the dog end up inside a tree's trunk? Sue Dixon assumed that he was a hunting dog, and he chased something in the tree, probably a raccoon, and this must have been around 1960. He probably followed his prey into the tree and got stuck 28 feet in, and he passed away due to starvation.